Hello, welcome to Get Ready for Realty. I'm Wiley Robinson. Today I'm here with Billy Jarrell of Carolina Gold Mortgage, and we're going to focus a little bit today on why is it a good time to buy a house right now. And if you're a first-time buyer or you've sold a house in the past and I think there's a gap, you could be considered a first-time buyer. So I want to take advantage of the expertise of my good friend Billy to inform us on the real estate market today. Interest rates are a little high, but maybe that's not a problem.
Well, interest rates are high relative to what they were in 2020, 2021, when we were trying to start off an economy crash from COVID. So interest rates were artificially low then to make sure that the housing market didn't go into a crash, which obviously it didn't. Market stayed very, very strong. 6 to 7%, that's really an average rate.
I know it kind of frightens people to think about because there was an abnormal period where rates weren't really, really low. Do we ever anticipate seeing something like that as a norm?
No, not as a norm. Think about it. What got us those rates in the first place was a global crisis. So unless we have another global crisis, I would not expect to see rates like that again. And even if we do experience another global crisis, now we've been through it. Right. We understand it better.
Right.
So you might not see as quick or a dramatic of a reaction in mortgages if something like that happens again.
Yeah. I remember a long time ago, you probably remember this too, but there was a time when interest rates for houses was enormous. Mm-hmm. It was in the teens.
Oh, I remember my father in early 80s, somewhere around in there, having to get an ARM loan on a VA at 15% because that's all he could afford.
Right. Okay. So in actuality, we look at 6.95% or whatever it is, because it fluctuates a little bit day to day.
Yeah.
That's not really tragic.
No, not really. When I bought my first home with good credit and a job, the interest rate was 8%. When I had the opportunity to refinance at 6.75, I thought I won the lottery.
That's great. That's great. One of the things I wanted to speak with you about, because I wanted to tap your vast knowledge base on this, is if I'm a first-time home buyer and I'm launching into this, what are my options? I'm a young professional. I've got a good job. I'm tired of renting. I want to capture that money in a vehicle that might be stable for me. Mm-hmm. Tell me, if you were a first-time buyer, what are some of the advantages? What are some of the things out there for a first-time buyer?
Well, the advantages are, of course, you want to get into the market. You want to start owning and start taking advantage of the appreciation of the market. Going forward. There's a myriad of programs that are available, from low down payments for FHA borrowers to no down payments to programs that might even provide for some assistance to do that. And as you mentioned earlier, that's for first-time home buyers. And the qualification to be considered a first-time home buyer is that you've not owned a home, primary residence, in the last 36 months. So if you fit that box, then you're considered a first-time home buyer. And there's just a plethora of different programs. Best thing to do is let's have a conversation and see what fits.
Yeah, this is great. Carolina Gold is situated right here in the heart of Ballantyne. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about Carolina Gold and what you do and your partner Teresa do.
No, Carolina Gold, we're a broker. We service primarily customers for Keller Williams Ballantyne and the great agents that work here. Because we are a broker, we have access to many different banks. So if you're just a straightforward, nothing fancy loan, we can shop that for you. If you've got some quirks that maybe we need to find a specialty bank for that, we have access to that. So over the big banks or some of the independent mortgage bankers, we just got a lot more resources available to us to help you.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you mentioned quirks. So, maybe your credit isn't exactly perfect. Maybe there's some things that you need to clean up a little bit. I think you could guide people through that process.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we always recommend start the pre-approval process now. Don't wait until you find the home that you got to have.
Right.
Don't wait until the lease is up. Do it now. That way, if there's some things we could work on to improve, we have the time to do that.
So if you're looking for a home, what do you need to have in hand to go ahead and start looking for a new home from the financing part?
Yeah. Of course, you got to know your social security number and date of birth and where you live. But the things we're going to ask for are going to be your last 2 pay stubs, last 2 years W-2s, last 2 bank statements. That's it. From that, we can put a file together, access your credit report, and start working numbers and start looking at loan programs to find out what's going to be best for you.
So you mentioned that the pre-approval letter. Tell us the difference, because there's a lot of misinformation out there between a pre-qualification, pre-approval. If you're going to go house hunting, what exactly do you need?
Well, what you need is a good, thorough pre-approval. Unfortunately, the terms pre-approval, pre-qualified have gotten a little bit jumbled up over the years. You can go online to an online lender, type in your information, and it'll spit out what it says to be a pre-approval letter. It's worth about the paper that it's written on. What you want is to have a lender, preferably a local lender, review your documentation.
Right.
That's why we say you're going to need those last couple pay stubs, last couple W-2s, verify that everything is what it should be. And then if need be, we can even have an underwriter review it to make sure all our T's are crossed, I's are dotted, so that when you start shopping, with certainty you can purchase this home.
Right.
We also ask that when you find a home for a client, let us know. Give us the address. Let us pull a tax card on it, look and see what the taxes are going to be. Do at least an estimate of homeowners insurance.
Right.
So we can know exactly what you can expect for a payment, what it's going to cost you out of pocket, to get in that house. The silly saying we have is we want you to know before you owe.
Absolutely. That's really great. Well, I tell you, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to talk with me. Obviously, we're trying to help out the first-time home buyers, people who have never bought a home. It can be a scary process, I think. Your hand-holding is just phenomenal.
Well, it's always exciting to work with first-time home buyers. It may take a little extra hand-holding, but it's exciting, and it's always an honor to be a part of the process.
Well, this is wonderful. I want to thank you, Billy. Thank you for taking time out of your day, Carolina Gold Mortgage, to walk us through this process. And we're going to go find some first-time home buyers.
All right.
And get them in here. Thank you for this.
Thank you.